The country bore witness to another aviation tragedy as a helicopter crashed in Solukhumbu today, claiming the lives of 6. This comes less than 6 months since an ill-fated airplane crashed before its scheduled landing at Pokhara International Airport back in January, claiming the lives of over 70. While the reason for today's tragedy is yet to be identified, these incidents continue to shed light on the lapses in the country's aviation safety. Good evening, I'm Sarah Sapsunama. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. 6 dead in a helicopter mishap in Solukhumbu. A special investigation committee formed. Questions raised on the aviation safety again. 4 more people arrested in connection with the Lalita Niwas land scam. Impunity is still given to those at policy-making level. Trend of carrying out development works towards the fag end of fiscal year continues unchanged. Government spends 200 billion rupees in just 2 weeks. And government apathy continues towards sports sector. The cricket ground in Mulpani still incomplete despite the lapse of almost a decade. Six people have died in a helicopter mishap in Solukhumbu. The deceased have been identified as pilot of the ill-fated Manang Air helicopter, Chet Gurung, and 5 Mexican nationals. The bodies of the deceased were flown to the capital via altitude air helicopter and taken to TU Teaching Hospital. The helicopter of call sign 9NAMV had taken flight from Solukhumbu's Surke at 5 minutes past 10 this morning and met with accident at Chandada of Likhupike, rural municipalities, Bakanje. Chief District Officer of Solukhumbu, Basanta Bhatra, informed that local police had searched and found the bodies of the deceased immediately after being informed of the incident. The deceased include 5 Mexican nationals, and they were on board and have been identified as Cifuentes G. Ferrando, Rincon Ismail, Cifuentes G. Maria Jose, Gonzalez Aberich, and Gonzalez Olasio Luz. The reason behind the accident is yet unknown. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal has expressed grief over the incident and dedicated condolences to the deceased. The whole country has felt the loss of a highly experienced pilot following the unfortunate death of the pilot of ill-fated helicopter of Manang Air, Chet Gurung. He had been a professional pilot since 1998 and had been flying for Manang Air since 10 years. He was also serving as the Chief of Safety Department for Manang Air. It may be recalled on the New Year's Day of Nepalese year 2076, the country witnessed a similar incident in Solukhumbu's Tenzin Hillary Airport. A Summit aircraft about to take off for Ramechhap from Lukla had slipped from the runway and hit Manang Air's helicopter that was parked at a distance of 40 meters off the runway. Co-pilot of Summit Air, Sujit Dhungana, and Ram Bahadur Dhungana and Rudra Prasad Shrestha of Nepal Police lost their lives in the incident. However, pilot of Manang Air, who was at the site during the incident, Chet Gurung, survived with injuries. After receiving treatment at hospital for 3 months, Gurung returned to work. 4 years later, Gurung failed to make it back from the same place. Moving on, 4 more people have been arrested for their alleged involvement in the infamous Lalita Niwas land scam of Baluatar. Police have arrested 2 former officials of Revenue Office Delhi Bazaar, former official of then Ministry of Physical Planning, and former Director General of Department of Land Management and Reform today. The new arrestees include Senior Divisional Engineer Balkrishna Shrestha of the then Ministry of Physical Planning. Shrestha has been arrested for his involvement in irregularities regarding 27 ropenis of land. Prior to this, non-gazetted officer of Revenue Office Yograj Podal and another staff Narayan Raj Mishra were arrested earlier this morning for forging documents. Former Director General of Department of Land Reform and Management Rudra Prasad Shrestha has also been arrested. The forged documents prepared by them were approved by erstwhile Chief Revenue Officer Kaladhar Deuja. Back then, Deuja had received land as bribe from the erstwhile Rana family for forging documents. Based on the forged documents, a total of 112 ropenis and 4 annas of land were transferred under the names of Rukma Samsher Rana, Suniti Rana and Shailaja Rana, among others, in the months of Asoj, Kartik and Mangsir of 2049 as per the Nepali calendar. With the arrest today, 16 individuals have so far been held by police for their alleged involvement in the infamous Lalita Niwas land scam. Investigations carried out by the Central Investigation Bureau of Nepal Police has already shown the involvement of former Prime Ministers and Ministers in the Lalita Niwas land scam. While the lower-ranked former government officials are being arrested one after another for forging documents related to the land, criticisms are increasing for not taking actions against those approving and certifying those forged documents. Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority filed case against 175 individuals, including former ministers Vijay Gachadar and Chandradev Joshi, on 5th of February 2020 for their alleged involvement in the Lalita Niwas land scam. However, cases were not filed against former Prime Ministers Baburam Bhattarai and Madhav Kumar Nepal, who had their part in decisive roles. With the CIB making successive arrests of lower-ranked former government officials for forgery, curiosity is rife regarding what happens to former prime ministers. While former Prime Minister Nepal has been defending himself, saying he was not involved in irregularities related to government-owned land, he has been alleged of directing for forgery of documents while he was the Prime Minister. Meanwhile, another former Prime Minister, Baburam Bhattarai, has also set around 3 ropanis, 12 annas of land of Lalita Niwas under the ownership of Tikincha Guti of Pashupati. The CIB has concluded that direct involvement of ministers along with lower and high-ranking officials has been seen in the Lalita Niwas land scam, which began after transfer of ownership of 112 ropanis and 4 annas of land of Lalita Niwas to the name of the members of family of Suwarna Samsher Rana on 10th of November 1992 and 7th of January 1993 by Delhi Bazaar Revenue Office. Suspicions regarding protection of a few individuals on the basis of power and access are also increasing in several quarters. The trend of increasing expenditure in the pretext of development towards the end of the fiscal year or mid of July has continued this time as well. Despite the constitutional provision for introduction of the budget on 15th of Jesta as per the Nepali calendar to put an end to such practice, it has continued unabated. The government, which had barely made any expenditure for 11 months, has spent 19% of the development expenditure in the 3 weeks of the month of Asar alone. The government has spent around 200 billion rupees in Asar, of which 57 billion is under development expenditure. The development expenditure, which figured 153 billion rupees in the beginning of Asar, now stands at 210 billion rupees. The provision of presenting budget on the 15th of Jesta was introduced to improve the spending mechanism of the government. The objective of introducing the budget 45 days before the beginning of the new fiscal year was to ensure quality development works and putting an end to spending in the fag end of the fiscal. With introduction of the budget on the 15th of Jesta, any department can formulate their work plan for development projects in the period of 45 days and can begin with implementation process from the month of Shravan. However, the government departments still begin procedures for selection of construction entities in the month of Bhadra and reach a decision on Mangshir before beginning works on Chaitra. In addition to this, the government does not even release the funds in time despite the construction entities furnishing their receipts after completion of the projects. According to the umbrella organization of construction entities, the government is yet to release around 50 billion rupees for completed projects. The construction entities are also equally responsible for the failure in ensuring timely expenditure. Large contractor entities occupy projects exceeding their capacity and assign tasks to smaller entities, which appears to have led to the delay in completion of projects on time. In this context, in our Public Voice segment, today we've asked in several provinces what should be done to break the trend of rushing development works in monsoon season. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
तिनीहरुलाई चाहिँ प्रोत्साहनको व्यवस्था गर्नुपर्छ।
यो चाहिँ ठीक होइन किनभने त्यो हतारमा विकास राम्रोसँग हुँदैन।
बजेट दिने कुरा जुन छ निकासा हुने कुरा त्यो समयमै गर्नु पर्यो।
जतिखेर बजेट आउँछ त्यही अनुसार हामी चाहिँ काम सुरु गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ।
भदौ असौदेखि नै काम सुरु गरेर छिटै काम सक्दा अलि राम्रो पनि हुन्थ्यो।
स्थानीय सरकारले तत्कालै समिति गठन गरेर उपभोक्ता समिति मार्फत काम गर्ने योजनाहरुलाई उपभोक्ता समितिबाट ठेक्का अन्तर्गत लाग्ने योजनाहरुलाई ठेक्का अन्तर्गत हामीले सम्पन्न गरियो भने
मैले केही गर्छु भनेर जुन व्यक्तिहरु चाहिँ सत्तामा आएका छन् त्यो व्यक्तिले नै चाहिँ यसलाई चाहिँ निरन्तरता दिएर चाहिँ यो संसदमा आवाज उठाउनु पर्छ।
रोक्नलाई त अब नयाँ मान्छे जानु पर्यो के नयाँ सोच भएको मान्छे जानु पर्यो।
राजनीतिक जो चरित्र छ नि अहिले यिनीहरुमा सुधार ल्याउने खालको मान्छेलाई हामीले त्यहाँ नीति निर्माण गर्न पठायौं भने मात्रै यो रोकिन सक्छ।
सेटिङमा यो ठेक्कापट्टाको कामहरुलाई दिनु भएन।
समयमा बजेट
स्वीकृति गर्ने र कार्यान्वयन गर्ने कुरामा ध्यान दिनुपर्छ।
असारमा मात्रै हैन कि अन्य बेलामा पनि के रे यो बजेटको सदुपयोग हुन पर्यो।
राज्य चलाउने हाम्रो उच्च ओहदामा रहनुहुने प्रधानमन्त्रीदेखि लिएर जुनसुकै पनि आफ्नो जिम्मेवारी लिएका व्यक्तिले ध्यान दिनुपर्ने हुन्छ।
अस्ति नि काम गर्न पर्यो नि।
जेठ मसान्तमा नै कामकाज सकाउने नीति नियम बनाउनु पर्यो।
It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
But before today's question, let's take a look at the results from yesterday's poll. Yesterday, we asked you what should be done to better manage public toilets in big cities. 50% voted for option A, initiative from local level, 47% for B, partnership with private sector, and 3% from C, pressure from public. And here's today's question: what should be done to put an end to the use of antibiotics without any consultation with doctors? Your options are A, awareness among pharmacies, B, awareness among consumers, and C, intensify monitoring. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Now, heavy rains are continuing to cause havoc across northern India, claiming at least 30 lives since Saturday. The bad weather, which is expected to continue into Friday, has downed trees, flooded homes and closed major roads in several states. Delhi was put on high alert today for flooding as water levels in the Yamuna River rose to dangerous levels. Officials have since relocated thousands of people living near the river banks to safer locations. Residents living in other vulnerable areas have also been told to prepare to be evacuated if needed. Traffic over a key bridge which runs over the river was cut off and schools are closed for a second day due to heavy rainfall.
Sports News.
Gandaki province has exited the Prime Minister's Cup NVA Men's National Volleyball Club Championship with a defeat today. In the match held in the covered hall of National Sports Council in Tripureshwar, Help Nepal defeated Gandaki in straight sets 25-22, 25-17, 28-26. With the win, Help Nepal collected 3 more points to inch closer to the final. In the earlier match, Nepal Police had defeated Dawali Milan in straight sets 25-21, 25-19, 25-17. This was the 3rd win for Police in the ongoing season, while Dawali's journey in the tournament has ended with its 4th defeat. In the last match of the day, APF club defeated Shailung Bagdunga in straight sets 26-24, 25-15, 28-26. This was APF's 3rd win. Armed police force have continued their unbeaten run in the women's category of the Prime Minister Cup National Volleyball Club League tournament underway in Kathmandu. In the match played earlier this morning, APF secured a straight set victory over Everest Volleyball Club. The departmental side won the match 25-9, 25-12 and 25-12 to add 3 points. It was the 3rd successive win for title contenders Armed Police Force. Prior to this, APF had won against Army and New Diamond. Meanwhile, Everest had suffered straight sets defeat in their past 2 matches as well. In another match played today, New Diamond secured a 5-set win over Army. New Diamond, led by Captain Prativa Mali, won the first set 25-15, followed by a 25-21 win in the second set. They were expected to win in straight sets, but Kripa Adhikari-led Army made a stunning comeback to win the next 2 sets 25-19, 25-22. However, New Diamond held their nerves in the decisive 5th set and won it 15-9. Following the defeat, Army's chances of finishing in the top 2 of the league are only mathematical. Nepali cricket has been making continuous progress in recent years. Team Nepal are ranked 15th in the ICC's One-Day International ODI rankings, while they were 17th in the 2020 internationals. Despite such impressive rankings for an associate nation, adequate and proper infrastructures are not present for cricket in Nepal. Despite ODI status of Tribhuvan University Cricket Ground and the upper ground of Mulpani, the 2 venues are not spectator-friendly. The scenes of tens of thousands of spectators carrying umbrellas at the TU Cricket Ground during the rain-affected final of the ACC Premier Cup between Nepal and the UAE drew the attention of world cricket. Despite the ardent followers of cricket feeling the brunt of the absence of quality physical infrastructures, concerned authorities have remained indifferent towards the issue. Completion of the lower ground in Mulpani with a parapet falls among the priority of each Minister for Youth and Sports and the Member Secretary of the National Sports Council. However, despite the lapse of almost a decade since the beginning of the construction works, the ground is yet to gain a complete shape. Construction works of the stadium with parapet had begun in Mulpani on 5th of January 2015 during the term of erstwhile Member Secretary Yuvraj Lama. However, construction works were obstructed on several occasions. A total of 150 million rupees has been allocated for the project for the upcoming fiscal year. Works for construction of a parapet have not begun in the eastern section due to the presence of road. The land belongs to National Sports Council, but the road has been in existence for a long period of time. Now, kits have been distributed to the 29 sports that are to represent Nepal at the Asian Games, which begins in Hangzhou of China from the 23rd of September. At a program organized at the shooting hall in Sadobado today, Minister for Youth and Sports Digbadur Limbu and National Sports Council Member Secretary Tangkolal Khising, among other officials, distributed the necessary kits required for practice. Most athletes are preparing in Nepal for the Asian Games. Women's national football team and women's national volleyball team are to participate at the Asian Games for the first time. A total of 233 athletes of 29 sports are to represent Nepal at the Games. According to Sports Council, around 50 coaches and 25 managers are to travel with the athletes. Taekwondo, karate and boxing are being considered as sports with possibilities of earning medals for Nepal. Anti-doping training program for the participating athletes and coaches has also begun from today. The Asian Games was scheduled to be held last year. However, it was pushed by a year because of coronavirus pandemic. Silver medal is Nepal's highest achievement at the Asian Games so far. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Good night.